Hey everyone, Brian Zane here with my predictions video for AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view from Las Vegas. It's an 8-hour drive from where I live here in Reno, but I'll be sitting and watching the show from the comfort of my own home this time around here. A lot of big matches to talk about with this show. Let's begin with the 6-man tag match, House of Black versus Death Triangle. I am a little disappointed in the build for this one, not gonna lie. It's the only match that I don't think got any real love or build on the Go Home Dynamite this week. And of course, I am watching Dynamite primarily. I'm not really watching Rampage, so if the build's happening there, sorry, I'm not seeing it. That being said, this is going to be, I mean, God, anything with Lucha Brothers in it's going to be fire emoji, and I love Brody King, I love Buddy Matthews, and Malachi, that whole thing with Malachi Black, I think what they're doing is very interesting, very compelling stuff, and I think that this is going to be a great, fantastic match, very flippity-dippity, so to speak, but I think in the end, House of Black are going to win here and continue their streak of dominance and darkness and fear across AEW. Probably won't see anything involving Julia Hart in this one, but we will see how, of course, that story goes along. But yeah, this should be an interesting matchup, but I think House of Black's going to win. The Young Bucks take on the Hardys in their first matchup together on pay-per-view since 2017, back in the ROH days, and I'm really excited for this matchup here. I mean, it's a generational battle. Obviously, one team heavily influenced the other over the years, and so it's just great to see this rivalry renewed here on pay-per-view. I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be very fun at a lot of times. I think ultimately the Young Bucks are going to have this one won here. I think a lot of that has to do with how they've built this matchup, and you heard it on Dynamite this week. Matt Hardy just hammering home, we have always been better than you, we've always beaten you, we've always been better and this and that. And so I think what they're hopefully going to do here is have Young Bucks, kind of win this one, and maybe not a passing of the torch so much, because it's not as if the Young Bucks need the torch per se. They're just kind of like perennially holding the torch right now in tag team wrestling. But I think it's going to be a great matchup either way. I think there's going to be a lot of thrills and spills in this one. But yeah, the Young Bucks are going to win the day in my prediction. Anarchy in the arena. The Jericho Appreciation Society will take on the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. Now, this is not a Stadium Stampede match, but I think that because, Jericho is involved in it, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of silliness, just a little pinch now and then in this matchup here. Maybe not as wild and crazy as Stadium Stampede was, but this should be a wild, frenetic matchup. 10-man tag team match. It's going to be a brawl, a war, so to speak. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of craziness happening here. Wouldn't be surprised to see William Regal get a few shots in as well in this thing, because we've seen him get physical in AEW since his debut. There is a little bit of potential for comic relief in here. I think that Jericho is straddling that line right now because he's the wizard and everything. That's just very inherently silly, but he has fireballs, so you got to believe that's going to be taken pretty seriously. Wouldn't be surprised if a fireball played into the finish this time around. Wouldn't be surprised if Jericho Appreciation Society get the Duke on this one. Of course, because you are trying to further build their reputation and their standing, you got to have them win these matches, especially in the first part of their existence. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see the Jericho Appreciation Society win by way of fireball here on Sunday. MJF versus Wardlow, the big grudge match, as the War Dog will finally get his hands on MJF. And this has been a great story they've been telling for months and months. And finally, the way they've been blowing off the face turn with Wardlow and everything has been just expertly crafted, I think. I've praised it every week to the point where it's annoying for me to say it, honestly. But I think it's going to be a really fun matchup, a really fun story. MJF, great at telling stories and great at working with just natural baby faces, and fans just want to see him get the hell beat out of him. This one, man, this one's giving me fits trying to figure out how it's going to end, because I could see MJF winning because that's just what he does with a lot of his feuds, and continuing the chase for Wardlow where he's trying to get out of MJF's contract and everything. But I could also see MJF just getting the crap beat out of him by Wardlow here, and Wardlow emphatically winning and earning his independence, so to speak. And I think this is the moment here. MJF can lose this one and continue to dominate other feuds, and continue to just be that smarmy guy that people want to see get beat up. He's still going to have his diamond ring. He's still going to have this and that. So I think that this would be the one for Wardlow to win and just like put to rest the storyline here. Don't have it drag on any more than it already has, because it's gone on. I mean, like we've been talking, it's been going on. They've been planting the seeds for this for well over a year now. It's time. So I think Wardlow beating MJF here is the right call. At this point, I think it's still a coin flip as to what's really going to happen, but my gut tells me Wardlow's going to win. Moving on to the Owen Hart Tournament Finals, beginning with the men's match, Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. This is a match I'm very excited for. These two, we never saw them square off at NXT. We saw them get a little physical at times. The seeds were planted, but it never actually happened, but we're going to get it here. And like I said, I'm really excited for it. I love Joe. I think Adam Cole is fantastic. These two are going to have great chemistry here in the matchup. You know, my prediction, ultimately, the way the finals of both tournaments have been constructed makes me think that Adam Cole is going to be winning his tournament final at least. Like I said, it's going to be a great match, but Cole will win. I think after kind of being denied the AEW championship in a couple of matches, I think this is going to be a nice rebound for him as the leader of the undisputed elite. Him being the Owen Hart Tournament winner is going to add great legitimacy to him and his run in AEW. It's also going to be a great inaugural winner of the Owen Hart Tournament. Then on the women's side of things, Dr. Britt Baker battles Ruby Soho in the tournament finals. And like I said with Cole and Joe, the way they were building these finals, it really does seem like they're leaning toward Cole and Baker winning both their tournament matches and being this big power couple. And I'm inclined to agree. Maybe they're going to pull a fast one on us and Ruby Soho will get that win back against Baker and win the tournament. Like, the stranger things have happened in wrestling, but there's the issue that what I've talked about in the past about predictable things. And it's okay for things to be predictable as long as the journey to get there is still interesting and entertaining. So maybe that's the story they're going to tell here, and you're going to have that power couple of Baker and Cole. It would be interesting to see what happens if Soho gets that win. You can have maybe the established guy or the bigger name winning the men's tournament. You could have kind of the upset win in the finals of the women's tournament just to shake things up, but it makes more sense to have Cole and Baker each win their finals. So that's kind of what I'm leaning toward here. TBS Championship up next as Jade Cargill will defend once again against Anna Jay. I gotta say, I'm not that interested in this matchup. It should be good. I mean, most of these matches that I go into with no expectations generally impress me in any way. I think that, this is not the match they've been building nearly as much as the other women's championship match on the card, and it shows. I don't really have any reason to believe that Jade is going to lose this one, continuing her undefeated streak and everything, continuing being the dominant champion that she is. I don't know who's going to beat Jade for the championship at some point. It's going to happen sooner or later. Just not going to be Anna Jay. Not this time, at least. In the other women's match on the show, you're going to have Thunder Rosa defending the AEW women's title against the Professor, Serena Deeb. I low-key have been really liking the build for this matchup here. I like how they've built Serena Deeb, honestly. That feud she had with Hikaru Shida, it went a little long, but I think her coming out in the end just really put her right in line for a match with Thunder Rosa. They seem like natural foils. I think they're going to have great chemistry here in this matchup. I like Deeb's work. I like Thunder Rosa as a babyface. She's always been just really fiery and just really easy to get behind, I think. And so they're going to bring it here, and my gut reaction, or my gut pick, is that Thunder Rosa is going to retain. She's had a pretty, a fair run as champion so far. Hasn't been too spectacular here, and you don't want to see a reign that snaps one as long as Britt Baker's and so soon. I think Serena Deeb obviously is one of those people who you'd love to see her get that moment to shine and become a champion. I don't know if it's going to happen here or not, but I think in the end Thunder Rosa is going to win, but Serena's going to give her a great match. Triple threat match for the AEW tag titles as the Jurassic Express defend against Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks and the team of Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. I honestly have no idea where this match is going to go, except everywhere around the arena. This is going to be a crazy, frenetic, just high-paced matchup between all six of these guys. Keith Lee is the biggest man in this matchup, but he is certainly equally nimble, I would say, to a lot of the other people who are going to be in this matchup. It's going to be a wild highlight reel, just nonstop, is what my prediction for this one. Hard for me to pick a winner, because I could see Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus holding on to it a little longer. Then again, we might be seeing some weird friction between them and Christian Cage. It wasn't really built on so much this week, I don't think, but there's been some signs they've been building up to that a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Starks and Hobbs, you'd love to see them have some gold. Maybe Ricky Starks have to be a double champion, AEW tag champion, FTW champion. But I mean, the wild card really is Swerve and Lee, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were the ones to kind of pull out this, maybe not an upset victory, but it would be a surprising win. I think that's going to be my wild pick for this show, is that Lee and Swerve will become the new tag team champions. And finally, in the main event, Hangman Page will defend the AEW Championship against CM Punk. And this is going to be, I cannot wait for the match here, because we know that CM Punk is a master at telling stories in the ring. Hangman Page, we've seen his just meteoric rise, especially in the last year and a half or so as a performer. It's just been getting better and better. He's really come into his own as this babyface champion. I think it's just been a great ride for him so far since beating Kenny Omega. And this is obviously his biggest and toughest to pick challenger to date, in my opinion. I could really see it go either way. I could see Page denying Punk and keeping Punk out of that title picture a little longer and just having a really good, hopefully career-defining or reign-defining win there on CM Punk and continuing that run. I could also see CM Punk fully embrace the heel thing that he's been kind of hinting at on and off, especially depending on what market he's in. And I could see him kind of pulling off that win and kind of getting that championship validation. And I don't know what they would do with him in that role. So I don't know. It's a really tough one for me to pick. If I had to go with my just instinct reaction, I'm going to say Hangman Page retains this one. I think it's going to be a great match. And again, the story they've been telling of Punk getting in Hangman's head and Hangman just being like kind of emotionally manipulated by what Punk is doing here, is that going to cost him in the end, or is that going to be something that he catches this time around and uses that to his advantage against Punk? Time will tell, but I think that's going to be a good match. But yeah, I think Hangman's going to pull out a big win here and retain the championship. But those are just my picks, folks. What do you think's going to happen on Sunday? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, I'll see you on the other side with my Double or Nothing review happening either Sunday night or early Monday morning. Probably it's going to be the latter of the two there. So until then, folks, I'm Brian Zane, and enjoy the pay-per-view.